And this was available to anyone who cared to look at it at SharePoint. And this guy, we had such debates over how to do the planning without a program board. And so this is a JIRA export. Since JIRA is down and nobody knows what any of the tasks were, we did a JIRA export of all the JIRAs that we currently have for all the products, which isn't all of them, right? Because some of them aren't put into JIRA yet. We don't know about them yet. And then on the other side of that, and this is giving hopefully all the information somebody needs to do that. On the other side of that, we have our iterations and the dates that start and end of the sprint. So you can see that each iteration is 2 sprints in our, it's not standard, I know. You're making faces. So that's what we have here. And
so can
yes.
anybody use JIRA to produce something that's roughly equivalent to a schedule?
Yeah.
Okay, because this all looks very much like...
No, JIRA very much, you can use JIRA very nicely to do JIRA has, you have your backlog of things and you can pull them up into each sprint. You can display your sprints with the work in each sprint for each person or by epic or however you like. You can make reports of how of what's work is completed and what your schedule for completing future work is. There's a lot of things you can do with JIRA. If we had JIRA, this would be much easier. But you know, that's not a release planning tool. That's the backlog planning tool, right? We plan our work through it. We track our bugs.
JIRA is also working on a plugin called JIRA Portfolio, which I think we looked at when I was there, and it wasn't quite ready yet. I think it's gotten a little bit better now. My company that I'm at now, we use something called AHA, which has a nice, I kind of like it. It's kind of a bigger than the sprint, high granularity.
Yeah,
you know.
so the reason I ask is because if one of your real deliverables is show up at a trade show, right, that in classical waterfall, that's called a real critical path, and you really need to manage that well, as opposed to, some internal release, which, it's important, but it's not...
If you slip a little bit, it's all right. So yeah, the trade shows need to be managed well, but the thing is that after you do this kind of a planning exercise where the team is committing that they're going to be able to finish this by here and this by there, you may not... Product marketing has actually a better idea of what we're likely to complete. And then as the iterations, as the sprints go by, and you see what's getting completed and what isn't, you can adjust as you're going, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, back here. We had the people listing their dependencies. Here, JIRA if you had it, the team that was depended on, the other team's JIRA, and when you would like to have it by. And then they discussed it with the team. Since we didn't have this nice thing on the board, we did it through this sheet, right? And when you would like to have it by, and then when they committed it, when they agreed they could give it to you by. If there's nothing there, then they agreed on the original date. And in some cases, you see it's to be evaluated.
Ah, yeah.
Not adding anything.
TBD!
Right.
Yeah, so we do the best we can, right? And this is something that is one of the risks that they have to handle and figure out how they're going to handle that in our risk planning.
Yeah, and you get 5 fingers on your vote if there's a lot of to be evaluated. Depends on what the things are.
Right? So then we also had a little electronic form for our vote of confidence. And as you can see, we had an average of 3.65. So confident enough to continue. Now, since we didn't have any, we did some work on a definition of ready and definition of done. This was, again, a SharePoint thing that I had people go in and add what they thought at the beginning, and then by the end of it, we reviewed it and picked what we thought would be appropriate. Shared definitions across all of the teams, and then each team could have their own, specific, yeah.
So in the part where it says 80% of test cases completed successfully,
Yeah.
you hire a lot of creative people. Isn't there a lot of wiggle room in that?
Yeah. There is. But we have test cases that don't run at all right now. So we're working on that.
Okay. So that was a compromise.
Uh-huh. All right, and then we had a spreadsheet, or rather a document which has our risks. And you can see that there are no more up here in the identified risks and impediments or identified features of risk. And instead, we have some things that have been resolved, some things that have been accepted, some risks that have been accepted, some risks that are owned. And Gordon back there in the corner is one of these owners, and I'm another one, and there are a few other owners here and there. And so we have to make sure that these things get taken care of.
So people's vote of confidence was contingent on
The risks
sort of
being handled
belief that we
appropriately,
would
yes.
solve that.
Yeah, and if they thought these risks, and if they didn't trust owner E to take care of the account rights, then, they would not vote confident. All right, so the lab being down is our biggest risk overall, because we don't know when it's going to come back up. We don't know how much time is going to be eaten because something isn't working for a long time afterwards. So that is the scariest thing right now. And then the capacity planning spreadsheet, I don't think I'll share because I haven't been able to sanitize it.
I'm going to guess that lab being down, I'm going to guess was that something where we might have had an interesting conversation with management where management just said, we'll do a plan anyway?
We didn't have that this time.
Okay.
I was so happy.
And actually, the lab came back up 1 week, in 1 week rather than 2 to 3 weeks. So
Oh, that's good.
we're pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So what was your question?
So you had basically 5 days of planning with like 2 different teams, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then there was on the week afterwards like this 2-day meeting where the plans were consolidated and we
Yeah, something very much like that, yeah. So it was exhausting.
Wow, I can imagine, yeah.
So for these 2-day plannings, or at least train engineers, pretty much active all day, helping all the teams do their things, and keeping everything going and making sure it's keeping a schedule. So it's
So
a lot of
how
work.
big was the team and how many of you were involved in this? Because this, seems like a lot of work.
So one of you,
Yeah,
he keeps telling me I need 3 clones.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
My other program manager, my boss, Gordon,
Yeah.
was very busy doing other very important stuff that could not be. He was managing the lab roof,
Now, let me ask another related question.
making sure that everything else was working.
Related question, how many people, especially in those outlying sites, are kind of trusted deputies that you have, or kind of scrum master level people that you can count on?
So,
Because that to me would
Not-
make this go a little
we-
smoother.
well, yes, it would, but we didn't really have that many trained people there. As you will see, if we go through, let us go through our presentations. So, close you. Team Sparks, you can see they are planning some spikes for the beginning, which makes sense, and their iteration objectives are mostly their spike results and some automation backlog work.
These are like 8-person teams or 8 to 10-ish?
Yeah, 8 to 10-ish. And they have listed out some dependencies. One of them is that things are available in auto deploy, that is, and this server is up and running, that is partly risks due to lab loss. And they have, later on in their iterations, you see they start being able to demo parts of a feature, this feature J is going to have some actual work done on it in these sprints and going to be ready to demo as a working feature. Now, so that team is moving along very nicely. We have other teams. Where is this one? Sorry to make you guys, your eyes go buggy here.
One important question, do you let the teams pick their names?
These are fake names. I mean,
Okay, but did the teams, for their identities?
we
did they-
do let the teams pick their names.
Yes.
So I'm moving to dev. Next. All right. This other team has a lot of stuff that they're listing as dev complete in their demo, right? Dev complete this, dev complete that, and this team is not very mature Agile-wise. And then at the end of all of their dev complete this, dev complete that,
That doesn't
they're
even
finally
work.
doing their QA testing at the very end of it all, and so we have to work with that team.
That means they wrote 10 million lines of code and they don't know if it works or not.
Right, exactly.
And how long did it take you work with that particular team to bring them up to speed?
Ho ho! They were up to speed 4 releases ago.
Ah,
Then I stopped working directly with their Scrum Master, and then they decided they want to try new things. They're being agile, they're experimenting and trying new things, and what they seem to have done with their experiments is gone back to waterfall. So we made a point, this is from this meeting, just a week ago, that we had this meeting, maybe 2 weeks ago. And so in that meeting, we tried to make the point again that we're supposed to have something deliverable. And during the meeting, he said to me, oh, I see. The point is you need to have something deliverable by the end of the iteration. So maybe. And he also said he was going to update this with actual deliverables. I haven't seen that yet because you saw the pictures of the baby. The other important thing that I've been doing lately is my new grandson was born on Saturday.
Yay.
yay!
So I've been taking my shifts with the newborn in between writing the presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
So I can imagine you've been doing software development for a long time now.
Yeah.
And Scaled Agile is relatively new.
Yeah.
So you've been doing other things for a long time as well. If I had to go back to my days when I was doing waterfall, this sounds like an ideal process, that if I could have come up with the ideal process for doing waterfall, this would be it.
Right.
And so I can never, so scaled agile just always seems just like a new term for waterfall with a few things thrown in to make it a little nicer, but not, when I look at Scrum, I mean, just basic Scrum is radically different than what we used to do.
It is radically different, I agree. And scaled
When I get
agile,
to Scaled Agile, I'm like, yeah, I'm just making waterfall nice, and doing it the right way. I mean, we should have had all of those communications between the teams. We should have had all that dependency tracking. I mean, that was, all the things that we should have had that we couldn't always get the executives to do and whatever. We're getting them to do in this process, but it's still the same thing. So I'm like torn and I'm just asking for.
right. So I will throw that question out to the room. If someone
Yeah.
wants to answer that question. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a very nice question. Thank you very much. And in my mind, been doing Agile for a long time, different settings from extreme programming to Scrum, and it's smaller scale. Yes, you're right. Scrum, at least in development, is leading framework. When I'm looking at SAFe in general, I'm thinking of a complete hybrid methodology with its own touch of agile processes in between every iteration. As she was explaining, what you're sharing with us is worth of probably 2-3 years of experience. And that by itself is agile. And that by itself could not be done in waterfall. By the way, I'm one of the active members of PMI Silicon Valley chapter. And this, what you're explaining, could not be planned in waterfall. Because this is an execution and learning from what we did and integrating into what we do, so we do it better.
Right.
And
So-
this is a hybrid, to me,
Mhm.
Scale Agile Foundation and their different scenarios are agile processes, agile frameworks, whichever way works for any enterprise at large scale. Like think of taking agile into PMO office in larger scale. Pure waterfall could not achieve what you just explained.
One of the things that I think was very useful when I learned about Scrum is that the difference between waterfall, it was very easy for people to hide behind the process.
Right.
Right, and you never, you're hiding behind the process, and it's very hard to elevate and get out the issues and everything, because, we met alpha, we had the criteria, we did whatever,
So
It's
Scaled
Scrum.
Agile does expose those things, just like Scrum does.
But I look